Welcome to the Taste China Learn English. Imagine you are walking down a freezing street in northern China.
Oh, yeah, it is the middle of January.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The air is so cold that you can actually see your breath forming little white clouds right in front of your face.
Yes, and you are probably wearing your thickest winter coat, like a really heavy wool scarf wrapped all the way up to your chin.
Right. And thick gloves, of course. The trees around you have lost all their leaves. Everything in the city looks, a bit gray.
A bit white from the snow, too, and very quiet. It's exactly that kind of biting cold that makes your cheeks and your nose turn bright red.
I know that feeling well.
Yeah.
People are walking quickly, just keeping their heads down against the wind.
But then, right as you are standing on the corner of the street, you spot this pop of incredible color.
Yes. There is a vendor holding what looks like a tall pole, and sticking out of this pole are dozens of bright, shining red rubies.
They really do look like large jewels, just glowing in the winter sun.
They do. So today, for this deep dive, our mission is to explore these beautiful red jewels.
Because they are not jewels at all. They are a legendary traditional Chinese street snack called Tanghulu.
Right. We're going to explore exactly what they are, the fascinating science of how they are made, and the reasons why people simply cannot stop eating them.
And as we take this journey with you today, we are going to naturally pick up some fantastic English vocabulary.
Yes, words to help you describe food, texture, and culture in your own life. We will take it slowly so you can learn and practice.
It really is the perfect topic for a cold day.
It is. So to truly understand Tanghulu, we have to look past the sugar and the bright colors first.
Yeah, we have to start with what the snack actually means to the people who eat it. We often call Tanghulu an iconic winter food.
Iconic. That is a great, powerful word to start with. Let us explain that for a second.
Sure. When a food becomes iconic, it means it is completely tied to a specific feeling or a specific season.
Right. It is a widely recognized symbol.
Exactly. For many people in northern China, winter does not officially begin when the calendar changes.
Or even when the first snow falls, right?
Right. Winter really begins when you see that first Tanghulu vendor on the street corner. It is a cultural marker.
That makes total sense. Just like roasted turkey might be iconic for an American Thanksgiving?
Yes, exactly like that. Tanghulu is the iconic symbol of the freezing Chinese winter.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I want to look closely at how this iconic snack is actually built, because the design is very specific.
It is very specific. Those bright red rubies we mentioned are actually a type of fruit. They're called Chinese hawthorns.
Hawthorns. And they look sort of like small round apples, right?
Yeah, or large cherries. But you do not just buy a bag of loose hawthorns. They are always skewered on a long bamboo stick.
Skewered. That is our next big word. Skewered.
Yes. To be skewered means the fruit is pierced right through the middle.
Like pushing a needle through cloth.
Exactly like that. It is fastened together on a long pin or stick. A vendor will take about 6 or 7 of these small hawthorns and push a single piece of bamboo straight through their centers,
creating a perfect line of red fruit. It looks like an edible winter magic wand.
It really does.
But I have to ask you about this design. What is it about the simple act of skewering fruit on a bamboo stick that makes it such a perfect portable street food for cold weather?
Oh, that is a great question. And the answer comes right back to that freezing winter weather we talked about at the start.
How so?
Well, think about your hands. If you buy a bag of roasted nuts or maybe a bowl of food, you have to take off your heavy winter gloves to eat it.
Oh, right. You have to reach your bare fingers into the bag.
And in northern China, taking your gloves off outside means your hands will freeze in seconds. It is painfully cold.
Ah, I see. So the bamboo stick is actually a tool for the cold.
Precisely. Because the fruit is skewered on a long stick, you can hold the bottom of the bamboo while keeping your thick winter gloves completely on.
Wow, that is brilliant. Your hands stay warm, your gloves stay clean, and you can eat the fruit right off the top of the stick.
Yeah, it is the ultimate portable street food. It was designed perfectly for its cold environment.
That makes perfect sense. The stick acts as an extension of your arm. But, a plain hawthorn on a stick is not Tanghulu yet.
No, it is not. We have to talk about the cooking process now because this is where the real magic happens.
Right, because the vendor does not just hand you raw fruit, they cover it in boiling sugar.
This is the most important step. The vendor has this wide, flat pan of melted sugar just bubbling over a fire.
And that sugar must be incredibly hot.
It is. The vendor takes the skewered hawthorns and dips the whole stick into the boiling syrup.
Oh, wow.
They give it a very fast, skilled spin and then immediately pull it out into the freezing winter air.
And this creates a glaze coating on the fruit. Glazed is our next word.
Yes, glazed. When we say something is glazed, we mean it is completely covered in a smooth, shiny finish.
You see this word a lot in baking, actually. Like a glazed donut, covered in a thin sugar shell.
Or even in weather. After freezing rain, you might step outside and see that the streets and the trees are glazed with ice.
Oh, that is a great example. It means a hard, shiny layer has formed over the surface.
Exactly.
But the glaze on Tanghulu is special because of the temperature difference, right? I imagine putting boiling sugar into sub-zero air does something specific to the candy.
It does. It is called thermal shock. Because the hot melted sugar hits the freezing cold air instantly, it cools down extremely fast.
And what does cooling down fast do to the sugar?
Well, the sugar crystals do not have time to grow large and cloudy. The sugar hardens immediately into a smooth, glass-like shell.
Oh, I see.
And because it hardens so perfectly, the glazed sugar becomes completely translucent.
Translucent. Let us break that word down for a second because it is an important one.
Yeah, it is a bit different from being completely clear.
Right. Like if I look through a clean glass window, I can see the trees and the street perfectly. That is transparent.
Transparent, yes.
And if I look at a thick brick wall, I cannot see anything at all. That is opaque.
Exactly. So where does translucent fit in?
I would say translucent is right in the middle. It is like looking through a thick block of ice or maybe a frosted bathroom window.
That is a very good way to explain it.
It allows the light to pass through so it shines and glows, but you cannot see the tiny details perfectly.
That is a perfect description. The sugar glaze on Tanghulu is translucent.
So when the winter sun hits the snack, the light passes right through the clear sugar.
Yes, and it hits the red hawthorn inside. This makes the whole stick glow with a warm, bright red color.
It looks exactly like glass. It really is visually stunning.
It is. But, the glaze is not just there to look pretty. It fundamentally changes the physical experience of eating the snack.
And this brings up a really important question for you. Is the translucent sugar glaze just there to look pretty like glass? Or does that hard, snapping texture actually change the way we experience the fruit inside?
Oh, it absolutely changes the way we experience the fruit. And this is where we have to talk about sound and texture.
Yes, because when you finally take a bite of this glowing red fruit, the sugar makes a loud, snapping sound.
Snapping! That is another great vocabulary word. Snapping is a sudden, sharp noise of something hard breaking quickly.
Like walking through a quiet winter forest and stepping heavily on a dry, frozen branch. Crack.
Exactly. That sharp, sudden break is a snap, and the sound of the Tanghulu snapping is deeply satisfying.
I can imagine.
The vendor spins the sugar so thinly that it does not hurt your teeth, but it requires just enough pressure to break.
Right. So when you bite down, the translucent shell shatters in your mouth with a clear, sharp snap.
Yes. And going back to your question, that hard snapping texture provides a massive sensory reward for your brain.
Really? A sensory reward?
Yes. Humans naturally love foods that make a loud crunch or a snap. It signals to our brains that the food is fresh.
That is so interesting.
But also, the glaze acts like a protective wall. It seals the fruit.
So it locks all the natural juices inside the hawthorn.
Exactly. It creates a physical surprise for your mouth. Your teeth have to work for a second to break the hard, dry sugar.
And then what happens?
The instant the sugar snaps, your teeth immediately hit the soft, wet, juicy fruit inside.
Oh, wow. That sudden shift from a hard, dry crunch to a soft, juicy center must really wake up your brain.
It does. It makes the act of eating an engaging, exciting experience.
I love how you describe that transition from the outside to the inside. Because once you break through that snapping shell, you are greeted by an absolute explosion of flavor.
The texture is really just the beginning. The real secret of why Tanghulu has been popular for hundreds of years is the flavor profile.
And that flavor profile relies entirely on contrast, right?
Yes, contrast. That is a wonderful word for us to learn today.
To show a striking difference between two things.
We see contrast everywhere in life.
Right, like a person wearing a bright yellow raincoat standing against a dark gray city street. That is a visual contrast.
Exactly. But in food, contrast is about pairing two completely opposite flavors together to create something totally new.
We already talked about the texture contrast,
Right.
the hard sugar and the soft fruit. But the flavor contrast is what makes this snack legendary.
It really is. The glazed shell on the outside is pure melted sugar. It is intensely, heavily sweet.
Almost too sweet on its own, I would imagine. If you ate a whole bowl of just the sugar, it would be too much.
Definitely too much. But the hawthorn fruit waiting on the inside brings our next flavor. The fruit is incredibly tangy.
Tangy. I think this is one of the most useful words to describe good food in English.
It is a great word. Tangy means a flavor is strong, sharp, and pleasantly sour.
Pleasantly sour is the key phrase there, right?
Yeah.
Because a raw lemon is just sour. It makes your face twist up.
Yeah, nobody wants to just bite into a raw lemon, but a green apple or plain yogurt or maybe a fresh raspberry, those are tangy.
Right. They have a sharp acidity that feels bright and fresh.
And the Chinese hawthorn is very tangy. In fact, if you just eat a raw hawthorn by itself without the sugar, it can be a bit too sharp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it makes the sides of your jaw tingle and it immediately makes your mouth water.
So imagine the experience of taking a bite of Tanghulu. You get the snap of the sugar and your tongue tastes pure, comforting sweetness.
Yes. But then, a second later, the tangy juice of the hawthorn bursts out.
And the two flavors mix together to create a perfect sweet and sour combination.
Sweet and sour. It is such a famous balance in cooking all over the world.
It really is.
Hmm.
But I want to dig into the biology of this. Do you think this tangy and sweet contrast is the main reason why traditional snacks like this survive for generations compared to treats that are just pure sweetness?
Oh, without a doubt. And there is a biological reason for it. Have you ever eaten a giant chocolate bar and halfway through you just feel tired of eating it?
Yes, absolutely. Even if I love chocolate, I just want to stop.
What you're describing is called flavor fatigue. The human brain gets bored very easily.
Flavor fatigue. That makes a lot of sense.
When you eat something that is only sweet, your taste buds quickly get used to the flavor. After a few bites, the brain basically says, okay, I understand this taste. I have enough calories. I'm bored now.
So pure sweetness actually makes you want to stop eating.
Yes. But acid, that tangy flavor changes the rules entirely.
How does it do that?
Acid makes your mouth produce saliva. It literally cleans your palate, washing away the heavy, sticky feeling of the sugar.
Oh, that is brilliant. So the sweet sugar gives you a rush of comfort, and then the tangy fruit cleans your mouth and wakes up your taste buds again.
Exactly. It creates a loop. The tangy sourness makes your mouth water, which makes you want more of the sweet sugar.
And the sweet sugar makes you thirsty for the bright, tangy fruit.
Right. You never experience flavor fatigue because every bite is a reset for your mouth.
Wow. This biological balance is why a simple winter street food has survived for generations.
That balance of sweet and sour really is a masterpiece of street food engineering.
It is. And while the traditional hawthorn will always be the most iconic version, the concept of Tanghulu has evolved quite a bit, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Street vendors are always experimenting. Today, you can find all kinds of modern twists skewered on those bamboo sticks.
What kind of modern twists?
Well, they apply the exact same method, the boiling sugar and the freezing air, but they use different fruits. Strawberries are incredibly popular right now.
I could easily picture that.
Yeah.
The bright red strawberry shining under that translucent glaze.
Yes, it looks beautiful.
And because strawberries are softer than hawthorns, I imagine the contrast between the hard snapping sugar and the soft strawberry is even more extreme.
It is. It is very delicate and sweet. Vendors also use green grapes.
Green grapes. That sounds visually interesting.
It is. From a visual standpoint, having a stick of bright green grapes sitting next to a stick of deep red hawthorns creates a beautiful contrast of colors on the vendor's cart.
That sounds lovely. Any other variations?
Some vendors even use walnuts. That replaces the tangy flavor with a rich, earthy, nutty taste.
Those all sound great. But my absolute favorite variation is a little more complex.
Oh, really? What is that?
Well, some vendors take the traditional hawthorn, slice it open, remove the seeds, and stuff the center with sweet bean paste before they skewer and glaze it.
Oh, yes, the stuffed ones. For our listeners who might not be familiar, sweet bean paste is a very traditional ingredient in Asian desserts.
Yes, it is.
It is usually made from red adzuki beans that are boiled until they're very soft, mashed together, and mixed with a little sugar.
The key to the bean paste is its texture. It is thick, rich, and incredibly creamy.
Creamy is the perfect word.
So think about the journey your mouth takes with this specific variation. Let us break it down slowly.
Okay, let us imagine it.
First, your teeth hit the translucent sugar, and you hear that sharp snapping sound.
Right, the snap.
Next, you hit the tangy, juicy hawthorn. And finally, right in the center, you reach this smooth, creamy, sweet bean paste.
Wow. You are introducing a third texture there. You have crunchy, juicy, and creamy all on one stick.
Exactly. It is like a symphony of textures. The smooth bean paste completely softens the sharp acidity of the hawthorn.
It sounds like a modern upgrade to an ancient classic.
It really is.
It shows how a simple idea, just fruit on a stick dipped in sugar, can be adapted and perfected over hundreds of years.
Absolutely. The winter in northern China can be long, harsh, and gray. But this snack provides instant warmth from the calories.
And bright color for the eyes.
Yes, and a fresh, bright flavor that reminds you spring will eventually come.
It is a little bit of joy holding out against the cold.
Well, we've taken quite a journey today. We've walked the freezing, snowy streets, stood by the boiling sugar pots, and explored the biology of why sweet and sour foods make us so happy.
We really covered a lot of ground.
Let us take a moment to summarize what we have discovered on this deep dive. Tanghulu is far more than just a sweet treat.
No, it is a masterclass in culinary balance. It combines the visual beauty of a translucent, snapping glaze with the bright, tangy center of a hawthorn fruit.
It relies on smart, practical design using a bamboo skewer so you can eat it without freezing your hands.
And it survives as a beloved tradition because that sweet and sour contrast prevents flavor fatigue, keeping your palate excited with every bite.
And just as importantly, we learned some incredibly useful English vocabulary today to help you describe these concepts.
Yes, let us do a quick vocabulary roundup. We will say each word slowly and clearly.
Think about the story we told today and picture the Tanghulu in your mind as you hear these words.
We started with iconic, a widely recognized symbol that represents something bigger, just as Tanghulu is the iconic symbol of winter.
Then skewered, pierced through the center and fastened on a stick. The hawthorns are skewered on long bamboo poles.
Glazed, covered in a smooth, shiny coating. The hot melted sugar creates a beautiful glaze over the fruit.
Translucent, allowing light to pass through, but not perfectly clear. The sugar shell glows in the sun like a translucent ruby jewel.
Snapping, the sudden, sharp sound of something hard breaking, like the satisfying crunch of the sugar when you take a bite.
Contrast, a striking difference between two things. Tanghulu is famous for its contrast in textures, hard and soft, and flavors.
Tangy, a sharp, pleasantly sour taste that makes your mouth water, which is the natural flavor of the hawthorn fruit.
And finally, sweet and sour. The perfect balance of sugar and acidity that keeps you wanting more.
Such great words.
I highly encourage you to take these words and use them in your own life this week. If you eat a yogurt that has a sharp flavor, tell yourself, this is tangy.
Yeah, or if you look out the window on a frosty morning, describe the ice as translucent.
Exactly. Building these words into your daily observations is the best way to make them a permanent part of your English vocabulary.
It is all about applying what you learn to the world around you. Food is a universal language, and having the right English words allows you to share your culture's food with anyone.
I completely agree. And as we finish our deep dive today, I want to leave you with a final thought, something for you to mull over.
What is the thought?
Well, we spent a lot of time discussing how Tanghulu acts as an iconic marker for the arrival of winter in China. Food and seasons are deeply connected all over the world.
They really are.
So I want to ask you, what is a specific food in your own culture that acts as an iconic symbol for a season?
Oh, that is a great question.
What is that one snack or dish that the moment you see it being sold or prepared tells your heart that the seasons have finally changed?
It is a wonderful question to reflect on. Every region has its own rhythm, and food is the clock we use to measure it.
Think about that iconic seasonal food from your home. Try to picture it clearly. Can you describe its flavor? Can you describe its texture using words like glazed, snapping, or tangy?
We hope you can.
Thank you so much for joining us on this tasty language journey today. We loved exploring the cold streets and warm flavors of this winter gem with you.
It was a pleasure.
If you enjoyed learning with us today, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.